you know, I haven't been fortunate enough to do that kind of undercover work, which I've always found fascinating. I've always watched TV shows and movies and find it. And I have a few buddies who've done their own ATF undercover guys and other individuals. And so it's always exciting to hear these stories. During your time undercover, even in your first op, is there a time when you're ever nervous of potentially, getting exposed or just being killed just on the fact, when you're in the drug trade, they don't necessarily need you to be the bad guy. You made a mistake and they kill you. You know what I mean? And so is there any moments where you felt like you were close to being killed?
Well, there was one time when I was assigned to Hermosillo, Sonora, Mexico, and I was dealing with a group of drug traffickers in Caborca, Sonora, which was a stronghold for Rafael Caro Quintero, who was a ranking member, a leader of the Guadalajara cartel in the late 70s and 80s. And he was the one responsible for killing our agent, Enrique Kiki Camarena, in February of 1985. So I meet with these individuals through an informant in Caborca, and we negotiate for a large quantity of marijuana, several tons. And we make arrangements to meet in 2 weeks at this combination gas station restaurant. So on the appointed date, I borrow a truck from the Mexican Federal Judicial Police with a large camper shell. And I'm accompanied by about 15 Mexican Federal Judicial Police officers that are armed to the teeth. The informant and I arrive at the restaurant. Shortly thereafter, these guys come in wearing cowboy hats, blue jeans, ostrich cowboy boots. And I didn't have the money to show them. So before I left Hermosillo, I had a bunch of $100 $1 bills and a $100 bill on each side, and I taped them to my leg so that they won't be able to thumb through the bills. Get into the restaurant, they come in and they say, well, do you have the money? So I lifted up my pants leg so that they could see the $100 bills, but they never thumbed through it and saw the $1 bills in between. So one of them tells the informant, okay, let's go. You go with me. I gave him the keys to the truck and the camper shell. One of them stayed with me, and he's there telling me, if you're a federal agent, we're going to kill you. You'll never make it out of Caborca alive. We will kill you. So an hour goes by, 2 hours go by, 3 hours go by, and all of a sudden, I see one of the Mexican federal agents by the window. Fortunately, the individual with me didn't see him, but he's kind of making this gestures, what's going on, what's going on. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's here threatening to kill me, and you're asking me what's going on, like I can respond. So anyway, about an hour later, he says, I've got to go to the restroom, which was an outdoor restroom. And I said, I better go with him because something, might happen. So I go with him. Sure enough, as we exit the restaurant, one of the feds comes and puts his gun to the chest of the trafficker. Trafficker grabs the barrel. Now he's got leverage. So he turns it, and it goes off, and he hits the Fed in the forehead. And I see a spray of red blood shoot up into the air. And he takes the weapon, and this all happens like within a couple of seconds. And I'm about 3 feet away, and he fires 2 shots. And I could feel them pass by my left ear. How he missed me, I have no idea. But I've always felt that I was always protected, whether it be a divine entity or what have you, but I was always protected. Return fire, struck him in the chest twice. He fell, and he was gasping for air. The Red Cross, Cruz Roja ambulance came about a half an hour later, picked him up. He was still alive, expired on the way to the hospital. And shortly thereafter, the truck with the other trafficker and the informant turned the corner, and they see all the commotion at the gas station, and the trafficker floors it and tries to speed away. The camper shell hits, one of these tractor trailer rigs, and it turns sideways. He takes off, goes down about a mile, jumps out of the truck after he hits the informant with his pistol butt on the head. Thank God it didn't kill him. And he fled into the night. But those were the undercover operations that I was involved in Mexico and Colombia, Brazil. That the danger was always there, and it was very, very, very risky business. And let me say that only about 10% of the agents, whether it be FBI, DEA, or what have you, do undercover work. It's not something everybody is destined to do, and since it's so dangerous.
And he was a good friend of yours.
Kiki Camarena was a good friend of mine. We did operations together. I was assigned to Hermosillo, Sonora, like I said, and he was assigned to Guadalajara. Very, very good man, very good agent. And it was a very tragic day, to have lost a friend and colleague.